Hello and welcome to Cooking the Books with Heather. Today we're going to be making a basic recipe, sort of a staple recipe from Outlander Kitchen, Teresa Carle-Sanders' cookbook. And we're making it because we want to make another recipe that includes it. But it's just a good basic vegetable stock. You can use it in place of chicken stock in any recipe if you wanted to make it more vegetarian, vegan, of course, depending on the other ingredients. But you know, a lot of recipes include chicken stock, but no other meat. So it's something that you can substitute. She has a whole section of basic recipes, and this one's out of that section. So I've already prepped everything, and I've got my large stock pot. It's probably way too large for what we need, over medium heat. It's been sitting there getting hot for a while, so it's ready to put all of the ingredients in. So it's got a little bit of oil in it. I did measure just to be as close to the recipe as possible. So we're going to add, this is leeks. They're prepared pretty much the exact same way that we prepared them for the chicken and leek soup that we've made here, and I will link above. This is just some carrots and some onions. No, carrots and celery that I've chopped. In her book, she also has some sort of basic knife skills section. And when she says chopped, she means about 1/2 inch squares. This is close enough. It's a little bit smaller than I normally would cut up things for a meat stock, but meat stock cooks a really long time, and so we don't want them to get super mushy in the meat stock, but this vegetable stock cooks up very quickly. This I was kind of interested. It is fennel. And I'm hoping there's quite a lot of it in here, and I chopped up everything, including sort of the frondy bits at the end, because it doesn't really matter. We're going to strain everything out in the end. And I had never seen fennel measured in stalks before. Usually it's measured in bulbs, but that's what she said. It was basically 1 bulb of fennel. And so we're just going to cook this at medium heat about 10 minutes, she says. Oh, there's another ingredient I forgot. But we're gonna cook it for about 10 minutes, just until everything is soft. But I forgot, we're also gonna add a little bit of mushrooms. You could have mushrooms or just the stems. I have some of both here. I was making mushrooms for another recipe last night, and so I just saved the stems and a few of the mushroom pieces to make up the amount that I needed. So we're just gonna, this is why I chose the large pot, because it's a lot of vegetables. So we're just gonna cook this over medium heat until they're soft. I think it's gonna take more than 10 minutes, but I'll let you know. While this is cooking, she says to do this later, but I'm just gonna do it now to get it done with, because it doesn't really matter if I take it directly from one place to the other. So that's going. It's not sizzling very much right now. That's gonna take a while. I have a small cast iron pan. I happen to remember that I have this sort of griddle pan that I think we got from my husband's family. I don't know where it came from, but it's decently seasoned, and I thought it was probably time for me to take care of it a little bit better and maybe use it. So we're gonna heat this on medium-high heat, I believe. Let me verify. Yeah, medium-high heat. So I'm gonna wait until this is hot. Once it's hot, we're going to cook this onion with the skin on and everything, just half an onion on this pan. So which is why I chose this pan that doesn't have high sides. I don't need them for this. I'm not putting any oil on it, besides, you know, what I sort of used to season it with. I washed it a little bit just to make sure it was okay, and put a little thin bit of oil on it just to season it a little bit. because I hadn't used it in a long time. So yeah, when this is hot, I'll show you what we're gonna do with it. Oh, that's pretty hot already. So what I'm gonna do is put this face down on my griddle pan, my grill pan. It's a griddle. And we're gonna cook that at medium-high heat for 5 to 7 minutes or until blackened. Blackened is the goal here, so don't worry. All right, so it's been about 5 minutes. I'm gonna call it done. This is what it looks like. And we're looking for some of that really blackened color. So while our vegetables are still getting softened, I've got one more thing to do, and that is to make a bouquet garni. We did this with cheesecloth, also in the kakaliki recipe from the Outlander Kitchen cookbook. This time I'm going to use, I have a large tea bowl. We use it mostly for mulling spices when we're making a large batch of mulled cider. So I'm going to use this for that. It opens up, has a little latch, and you can attach it to a handle so you don't lose it, although losing it's not a huge deal for something like this. So we're going to add into here all of the ingredients that she requests. Some bay leaves, some cloves of garlic. I did take the peels off of these. That's not entirely necessary. Now this is an optional ingredient. It's a piece of dried mushroom. This happens to be porcini. Any dried mushroom that you like will do. And it's really just a relatively small piece, although it's one of the larger pieces in the batch, but it's not like, you know, a whole cup of them or anything. So just a little bit. There are a couple of other optional ingredients that you could add here. You could add a red chili pepper. Doesn't say dried, so whatever. A whole red chili pepper, a sun-dried tomato, not in oil, or some kombu, dried kelp. So all of that will sort of add a bit of a different flavor to it. Since we are going to be using this for a mushroom soup, I decided to only use the dried mushroom here. We also have some black peppercorns, whole. And then we have a few fresh things, quite a bit of fresh parsley, and some fresh thyme, which I'm going to kind of just stuff in here because it doesn't really matter. I'm probably going to put those bay leaves in half and then close it up. So we're all ready when we're ready to add this. It goes in with the onion later. It's been, I think, more than 10 minutes at this point, and they are starting to soften, starting to get a little cooked, and I'm gonna call that fine for this stage. And the next thing we do is add water, because we're making a stock. So I'm gonna add this and one more. In the end, we're supposed to have about 2 quarts of stock, and so 2 quarts of water. So there we go. And we're supposed to turn this up to medium high and bring it to a boil. Okay, I turned mine up because I was being a little impatient. But now I've turned it back down to medium high and it's still boiling, so I think we're good. But now we turn it down to a simmer. She says low. I'm gonna go with that for now, which is sort of like a medium low on my stove. And we're gonna add the burnt onion, the oignon brûlé, as she calls it. And then we're going to put our bouquet garni in here, and I'm just gonna hook it around the handle, hook it to itself, so it'll be easy to take out. Just kind of make sure it's in there as much as it can be. both of those things. And we're gonna try to keep this at a simmer. So not too high, not too low. She doesn't say a low simmer, so just, you know, a simmer. So put some stuff in there. I might turn it up for a little bit. But this simmers for 30 minutes and then you've got your vegetable stock. So we'll be back in about 30 minutes to show you what we have to do with it when that part's done. Okay, so our vegetable stock has been simmering for a little over 30 minutes. Well, it's been in the pan for over 30 minutes. It took a while to get it at a good simmer, so I'll let it go a little bit longer than that. And in the end, I had to have my stove at about medium heat, not much lower. I'm gonna turn that off now just to show you what it was at on medium. And now we are going to strain it. So I have my usual setup. I have a glass measuring cup just because this fits nicely in it, my strainer, and she says several layers of cheesecloth or a clean cotton or linen dishcloth is fine as well. I have about 4 layers of this cheesecloth and it has been dampened, and I just made sure I cut it and then it was a little small, so I just put them separate ways, like opposite ways, so everything's covered with at least 2 layers. And now we just ladle, and this is what I like to do because otherwise I spill. So if I put the measuring cup right up against the pan and go that way, I don't spill drip quite as much. And these vegetables are not super soft, but they're, I mean, I would say they're cooked. And I made sure the carrots were soft. So we do this, and then she says to, I'm gonna use this for it, to gently press the vegetables to make sure you get everything out. And this is gonna take several ladlings, and I'm gonna have to take all of this out and put it in a bag to go in the trash and all of that. So that is it. I'm just gonna keep doing that until we're done. We can take out the ball, the Bouquet Garni, and the onion separately. That's fine. All right, so just so you can tell, this is a nice sort of brownish vegetable stock because we got some of that flavor from the onion that we browned, and from the mushroom probably helped that a lot too. There's no salt in this. We didn't put any salt in it, so it's not going to taste great immediately out of the pot, but when you use it, obviously you'll add salt. And so you can keep it in the refrigerator for about a week. You can freeze it. I like to freeze stock in sort of small 1 cup, maybe it's a half cup to 1 cup containers, and then I can just use it for a pan sauce or something like that. But we're gonna use about half of this for another recipe. So if you enjoyed watching me make this, please hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and come back and watch what we make with this.